In readings, I often say, your soul knows the plan. And every time I say it, I think, wow, I must be the most impatient person in this whole world. Because even though I know this, I still get as frustrated as everybody else about why aren't things happening already? Why can I see this in my mind, but actually it's not manifesting? There's lots of times when I wonder, why do I see where I'm going if it just makes me more impatient? But then I also think it's ways of me learning to trust myself. Because if I didn't know it was going to happen, I wouldn't be able to follow my intuition. And every day, my intuition is so strong and it never lets me down. Whenever I think it's the right thing to do or the right direction to follow, I get this sense of assurance. And now, whenever that happens, because I've seen things in the future that have manifested into reality, not always in the way I'm expecting, but it always happens, I think, okay, well, I need to trust what I'm being given. And that sets me a really good stead within my readings because I now have that assurance that this is what I'm being told and this is what I'm being asked to deliver. But also, what I find so interesting is that the more we learn and the more perspectives that we take on board or we're open to or we're exposed to, the more we can think through the messages that are coming through from source or spirit or whoever it is that you believe is responsible for creation. And tonight was a really wonderful example of that because the reading I was given related to a question that I had for myself about, is the current situation I'm in linked to a previous life? Because actually it triggered me so much that I thought this can't just be a one-off. This can't just be something that's happened that I have to deal with, because it's something I've had to deal with in the past and it's never bothered me. And the way that the reader gave me the information, I couldn't doubt it because it was so accurate in every aspect of that person's description. And that's what I think so wonderful is, a year ago, if I'd been given that, I'd have said, oh, I don't know who that person is. Don't think that's anything to do with me. But because I've learned about block clearance, past life aspects, and how trauma manifests and how patterns repeat, I can interpret that very, very quickly. And it's the first time I've been shown something from a previous life in a reading that was so clear, but also that I was so certain that it wasn't in this present lifetime. And as we build our knowledge and our strength in ourselves, our perspectives evolve. And I was also thinking this evening about how I teach in my kind of day-to-day job and why I love theory and I love structure. And I think the reason for it is that not because it confines people, but because it gives parameters to evolve things and change. And all of these things change over time. Nothing's static. And theories are only a holistic outline of how you can adopt something, whether it's a method, whether it's a model, or whether it's just a kind of standard as to what it is that you want to pass on to other people. And by creating that for people, you can allow them to make their own choices and you can help them to understand logic and then apply logic in different situations. Now, this isn't just about mediumship perspective, this is every day and every aspect of our lives. And once we learn that our lives are a series of lessons to learn from, it really helps to understand why we've chosen this path and why we've chosen this series of events. And I always think, am I just doing lots of courses because I love doing courses? Or am I doing things that are all building up to who I want to be and how I want to spend however many years that I have remaining on this earth? And I think that's really exciting from one perspective. I used to find it very frustrating because I thought I'm spending so much money on these things. I'm spending so much time learning and studying, and whenever I finish something, I think, right, that's it, I'm not studying again. And then all of a sudden, there's another course, there's something else I want to learn. And it just keeps going. And I think, well, obviously that's part of my purpose. But it's also guiding me into a different version of myself. And the more I learn, the more perspective I have. And whenever we're faced with things that we find challenging, or for example, I wanted to do an event, but I would need a meditation, and without a qualification, I wouldn't be insured. So that challenge actually led me to a course that I want to do that now I can embed within my research. So I can use it from multiple perspectives. It doesn't have to just be a one-off course so that I can add meditation to Reiki. And thinking about things in this way makes it really exciting. As well, if we keep being exposed to the same thing, for example, something we think individuals should learn, or like ways that people behave in certain situations, it just gives us opportunities to think, okay, well, why is this triggering me? What could I be trying to tell myself in terms of how I can move forward or how I can look at this differently? And I'm constantly saying this to clients within readings. And it was only tonight, when I had the wonderful reading from a friend, that I thought, this is what it's about. The more we learn, the more we can understand. And the more we can apply skills to lots of different aspects of our lives. Because just because we learn it in one context doesn't mean that it can't be applied to others. And that's what's so wonderful about knowledge, is that you can do so many things with it. And everybody does something different. And even as I was reading through my thesis today, I was thinking, that's not my perspective anymore. So I don't know if I want to share that, because I've got new ideas, I've got new things that I've learned since then that I would want to evolve it. And I was thinking, do I want to go back to change it, or do I want to move forward to find something new to focus on and something new to evolve? So that's my dilemma for the moment, although my soul's telling me move forward, let it go. But a year ago, I wanted to clear it, I wanted it to be finished, I wanted it to come to a specific solution or conclusion. Whereas now I think actually it's really interesting to look back at that version of myself, because all of the things I've learned since then has given me a very different focus and a very different direction. But if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have got here. And that foundation of knowledge has given me a perspective that I can now apply to the course that I'm doing. So there is a divine plan, and my soul definitely knows what she's up to, because she just keeps leading me to the right people. And sometimes she throws me a red rose just so to reassure me. However, I don't really need that anymore, because I'm now in a position where my intuition will tell me. And I completely trust it.